Style undefined.
Hey guys, my name is Kenneth Wayne Curtis Jr., and most of y'all know me as Kenneth Wayne. And unfortunately, my dad passed away on October 23rd, 2023. But this video is made in celebration of his life. As most of y'all know him as Kenneth Wayne Curtis Sr. was a great man. And as much as I'd love to just tell you from my perspective, here's from the perspective of everybody that was close to him.
Kenny was my baby boy, my youngest of 4 boys.
Kenneth is my husband. He's my soulmate. He's the father of my children.
Kenny is my daddy, my twin.
Kenny was my brother.
So Kenny is one of my 3 brothers, of course, all older than me, but he was the younger of the 3 boys.
Kenny to me is one of my big brothers.
Kenny was my brother-in-law.
Kenny is the 3rd brother who came for some unknown reason.
Kenny to me is my pops.
Kenny is my baby brother. Funny guy.
Kenny is my uncle.
Kenny was my brother-in-law. I loved him, and I still do. But more than that, Kenny was one that would come around and pop a joke in a quick minute. And that I will never forget.
Kenny has always been and always will be Big Red to me.
Well, Kenny to me is that's my uncle. That's Uncle Kenny.
Kenny was loving, happy, mischievous with his brothers, got into a lot of mischief, nothing bad, but just what boys would normally do, get into a lot of stuff. He was a lot of fun. He laughed a lot and had a good time, even as a young man.
Crazy kid. I got to be careful with some of the stories that I wanted to share because there's a whole bunch of things Mama still don't know about, and I'm not fit to divulge all that stuff right now.
All right, so as a kid, my brother Kenny he was funny to me because, of course, my father, anybody who knows my father, Leroy would cut up with this alcohol in his system. And what I remember most is Kenny was a runner. Like Leroy would be coming in the house and this dude could disappear faster than any Curtis kid ever. I mean, you looking for him because we all need to run because Big Mama was out of the house. But Kenny, I don't know, he had like a sixth sense. He knew his daddy was coming. He knew he was finna act crazy. And this dude would disappear or get through that back door so fast. So he was quick, actually, for to be big, a big guy. He was quick. He was one of the fastest ones. He could have ran track as fast as he got away from Leroy.
Kenny, as a child, was a red man, a red boy. He had this real pretty red skin tone. A happy person. He liked even working as a child.
Kenny, well, it was a fun. Kenny was a fun kid. We just enjoyed laughing at him running from us to get his, when it was come to getting his hair comb.
Oh, he was funny, but he also tortured me. Him and his other brother, they tortured me, pushed me in the pool. I mean, they did a lot of stuff, but they were still funny guys,
Kenny as a child was funny to me. He was funny to me because he never wanted his hair cut, but he was also funny to me because we did a lot of stuff together. We played football together in Emerson Yard. We did a lot of stuff together. Me, him, D, Net, JoJo, all of us. We played so much together. We were so close to where, as a kid, Kenny was just funny, and we all, I guess, all of us are comedians because we all have jokes and stuff. So Kenny was just one of them that he just told a lot of jokes. We laughed, we joked. Um, that's about all with Kenny. Kenny was just Kenny.
Kenny was a wonderful husband, always thinking of the kids and me first before himself. No one else came before Kenny.
Kenny, as a husband, I don't think in no way, no one could ever be a better husband than Kenny was. He was a great man. He loved his family. He worked hard. He wanted the best for each and every one of them. His son, his daughter, and his wife. And he took care of her like most husbands wouldn't even think about doing. He was really a faithful husband. You don't find that nowadays in a man, but he was a very faithful man.
Kenny, as a father, was supportive. He was ruling when he had to be, and he was also loving and touch and sweet and tender when he had to be as well.
The first word that comes to my mind is proud. Oh man, that kid. Kenny was so proud of his children. Everything with Kenny was black and white. Kenny didn't do color, not even gray. It's just black and white. So sometimes, um, if things weren't going the way he wanted them to go for the children, if he thought letting them fail was going to help them in the long run, then he let them fail. Now, he ain't gonna never let them suffer. But if failure was gonna bring them around to start doing things the right way, then by all means. I mean, Kenny was a great father. He was tough. He's proud and loving.
Kenny as a dad was great. He showed me exactly how to be strong.
Kenny as a dad, oof. He was strict, but he was very loving. But I'm gonna tell you something. The one thing I always remember is Snaggletooth Fred. Listen, everybody around me heard about Snaggletooth Fred, but I felt Snaggletooth Fred. I remember always he'd be like, go get Snaggletooth Fred when I get in trouble. And I would run and try not to find it. I'm gonna be honest. And he's like, don't let me get up and find it. I never found it because I knew I was getting beat either way. But growing up, I watched my dad become more from disciplinary, and I noticed it when I got older. It was because he wanted better for me. He wanted better for my sister, and the older I got, the more we became best friends. I knew I could talk to him because we were the same person. There was a lot of times in life as I got older, I realized why he did certain things. And so as a dad, he was everything that a father was supposed to be.
Kenny, as a father, I think he couldn't have been no better. I think his children could not have asked for a better father.
Kenny as an uncle, when I was little, was always big and loud. For a few years, I was terrified of Kenny. Like, he was just, yeah, big and loud. I mean, even though he had the biggest smile on his face, the fact that he was just big and loud, it was, that's, it's something. I'll tell you that, it's something. But in the last few years, he's somebody that, always look forward to being around. As an uncle, like he was always willing to cut a motherfucker, for sure. I would say very protective. just like, he was real cool, very funny, always smiling, always happy, um, worked very hard, just all around pretty cool guy. Big and loud still, but pretty cool guy.
Um, Kenny as an uncle, I had multiple versions of Kenny. As Kenny when I was younger, he was that it wasn't that he didn't he not I'm gonna say this. He didn't bring that fear to me. He brought that I'm gonna beat you up. He was like he come around, he gonna beat you up. But playful, not to hurt you or do anything like that, but playful like some, yeah, like sometimes like man, you want a lazy day to chilling and Uncle Kenny come on and say, oh man. So you try to run to the bag, go to stay in the restroom for a long time. But he gonna find you. He just hope that grandma talk to him before he finds you so he can sit down. but but that's me as I was younger. Me like I a little bit like in my teenage year, I just saw him just working, just working like he could go like talking about going to work, and he come over when he get off work. Like all I see him working. Like I was asking him, when you gonna take a vacation? Do something for yourself. And that would say like that's different versions. But when I got older, and I saw him as a caring person. Like he very caring. Like I never really thought like how caring he is till I got older. And I guess I never experienced it till the days I like when I was around him more and more. He very caring, very open-minded, different than everybody else. Crazy. Crazy. But what I can say, he good about his money.
How was Kenny as a friend? The word that comes to mind is loyal. Me and my sister, we had just moved in to the house. We were 2 houses away from the Curtises. I was 7 years old. And we go outside one day and we're playing on some little poles there, right in front of the old, what was that thing? Laundromat. It was a cleaners there. So we out there, we hanging on the poles, we're laughing and joking. And I look up and there's this huge red kid and he's walking toward us. And he gets up on us and he says, y'all the new kids here? I'm like, yeah. And he's looking around and he says, you gonna be my friend? Or I gotta beat you up? Now I ain't no punk. By no means. But I ain't no goddamn fool either. He 3 times my size with a big old red watermelon head. My name is D. How you doing, friend? It's been over 45 years. And I am so proud to say that we are still friends. When Kenny he reserved that spot for you in his heart. Didn't matter if you didn't talk for a week. Didn't matter if you didn't talk for a month. Didn't matter if you didn't talk for a year. That spot was yours. And the next time he saw you, he opened it right back up and gave you your seat at the table. Kenny was an extremely loyal, loving friend.
He's Kenny's favorite saying is he's gonna live to be 150.
His favorite saying is, I'm going to live to 150 years and never leave a penny on the ground when you see one. He always pick it up off the ground and he'd kiss it for good luck.
His best saying is he got to go to work. Of course, motherfuckers, my favorite word too.
you know, Kenny's best saying, what I guess I'll remember him for forever, is no matter what the situation is, he is gonna cut a motherfucker. Just let you know. So it can be something you having a problem with, and because he's such a caring person, a loving person, loves his family, he'll be like, "Hey, you want me to get him? Cause I cut a motherfucker. I'm telling you." And he pull out his little gear, and he ready his box cutter, and he gonna let you know. He gonna gut him from ear to ear. That's my brother.
Kenny's best saying was, them bitches, them motherfuckers.
Kenny's best saying was, I'm a cutter MF.
Kenneth's favorite saying is motherfucker. That's all he ever said. Now, if he used any other bad words, I never heard it, but that was the main one that he used all the time. And he could be with a group of people, and sometimes it would come out, but if he didn't know you, if he did not know you, he would be so quiet you would never know he even talked.
Kenny best saying is my favorite saying also. Kenny sit there and say that he's gonna cut a motherfucker. I sit there and say, boy, I'ma fuck you up. Don't have me to be like my big brother. Just like that. So so you can tell that Kenny is my brother.
What is Kenny's best friend? Oh Lord. Name a curse word, and that's probably gonna be it. But the biggest one that I always heard was shit. And that meant like, ain't nobody gonna try me. Like, I loved hearing that, because I was like, shit, when I got older, it don't matter what you say to me. I need to deal with it. But I mean, you ask anybody else, I'll cut a motherfucker here to here. I mean, name a curse word, every other one, it was in his sentence.
What is Kenny first saying? When somebody mess with him, he just said, I split him the throat to throat, or I split him the ear to ear. He said, I always keep my box cut on. I'm like, man, Kenny, where you got that knife? You put that knife down, man. I said, people scared of you already because you big. And you're a big black guy, they're going to be intimidated of you. He said, I'm going to get them. And I don't know, just it's a lot of sayings that he said. I can't think of the top of my head, but I think by here and there, I just sit here and laugh. But one thing I can say, he always said, don't let that stress you. Don't let that worry you. That's the most important thing I feel like I can take.
Kenny's favorite saying, as mentioned earlier, is "I will cut a motherfucker." And yeah, and somebody did mention, I have heard him say these bitches. Yeah, when you make them mad. Yeah, that's what I remember him. And then more recently, going to Tommy's, I just remember him saying, "Can I get 4 carne asadas?" And I was like, "Man, you a big old boy." And I was like, "I can barely eat 2. You getting 4, man." Yeah, always. Yeah.
What was Kenny's favorite saying? I wish a motherfucker would. Oh my goodness. Every time I had the opportunity to sit with Kenny, he would let me know that there's some things going on and he wish a motherfucker would. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow. Best memory. Just recently, and I think I told Mama this. Came to drop Renee off last week, or last Wednesday, I think it was, and Kenny was coming to pick up Mom, and Mom told me, I'm going to your house to spend the night. And at that point, I was like, okay. But as we got to the car, Mom said, I'm just kidding, because Kenny was looking in, and with that big smile that he always had when we greet each other, he said, what's going on, brother-in-law? I said, oh, Mama teased me, man, but I told her, come on, she can spend the night. And that just, I told Mama, that's the memory I got from my brother. That's the memory I got. I just remember that big smile and me and him just going back and forth like we always do. I'm gonna miss him. Gonna miss him.
My favorite memory of my daddy is when we used to drive and he used to have his road rage and he would cuss somebody out real quick and try to flick them off. That's my daddy.
Ooh, my best memory of Kenny was just him laughing and enjoying himself all the time. You know, always laughing and just having a good time with everybody.
The time we were trying to teach him how to drive. It was funny because it took a couple years for me to get him to get in the car to learn how, because he was scared. But it was funny because he had kept, you know, confusing the gas and the pedal, especially when he was going reverse. Yeah, he. You know, anytime you're with Kenneth, it's always, you know, a good memory with him.
My best memory is he walked me down the aisle when I got married. And I loved when he see the grandchildren, my grandchildren and everybody, he teased them and say, "You're gonna get to know me no matter what."
My best memory of Kenny is Kenny liked to eat. And Kenny used to, like, I don't know where we used to get these things for, but they were some like little pretzels with cheese in the middle of them. And Kenny loved them, and nobody else had liked those things. And boy, Kenny one day, I don't know if he had the munchies, he was just hungry that day. I don't know what it was. But Kenny wanted some, Tiny wanted some, and I knew Tiny didn't like them. And we was trying to figure out why this big argument had started with about these little, they was called combos, I think that's what they was called. And Leroy got after Kenny about that. Kenny and Leroy was going at it. Then next thing you know, they was like fighting. Then Leroy wanted to spank Kenny, and Kenny wasn't having it. Just like that. So Kenny pushed him and ran out the door. And we was all trying to figure out, when Mama coming home? When Mama coming home? Just like that, because that was just crazy. And then the other times was when Kenny, um, every time he needed his hair comb, now that was funny to me. Because I, boy, just get your hair combed. It's not that bad. Me being a girl, okay, I'm used to my hair being combed. Just like that. So I'm thinking it's the same for boys, but I find out it ain't that easy when it comes down to boys. Just like that. So that was funny, seeing Kenny get chased around the house trying to get his hair cut.
My best memory of Kenny is his smiling, his laughing. No matter what he was going through, he always end up laughing at the end of it.
My best memory of Kenny is actually the first time he came with us to the beach. We were at the 2-story Whataburger, and we sung "Happy Birthday" to him. That is my favorite memory because, one, it caught him off guard, but two, it almost looked like, well, I mean, he wasn't expecting it, but it just looked like he was just so grateful for that in that moment. And it's just something that I always remember in a video that I always go back to.
My best memory of Kenny, it would be like this. I don't know. I guess it's I guess it's him like when being around, just laughing, to bringing that joy to the atmosphere, like this bringing that piece of home, I like around when he around, and just I guess for me, my best memory like my moment now is I was on the phone with him when he was laughing, and that's the last thing I heard. So that's when I can take that laughter, and I feel like it was peace.
My best memory of Kenneth is when he was in grade school, elementary school. We called him Red Man, and that's what the family knew him as. But Kenny had some bad hair of all of my kids, and one morning I said I was ready to comb his hair. Kenny took out the back door, took off running. I had Joseph and Leroy to take out after me. Some kind of way, Kenny ducked around both of them and came back in the house. Well, what was so funny, his dad was up, and his dad said, Kenny, come here. I'm going to comb your hair this morning. And he grabbed him by his hair, and grabbed him by his head, and took a great big old thick comb, and he just went like this, raking over his hair. He turned red as a beet. But after that, Kenny picked up that comb every morning, and he combed his hair.
My best memory with my pops. When I was a kid, somehow my dad knew somebody at the jail. He picked me up when I was young, and I don't think it was long, but he put me in a jail, and I remember how cold the jail was. And I was crying, and I don't think it was anything crazy, like it was probably like 10 minutes, it felt like an hour. And I was crying, I remember him picking me up, taking me to the funeral, like the graveyard, my bad, straight to the graveyard. It was an empty graveyard. And he looked at me, I was getting in trouble, and he said, and I never forgot it, he said, if you keep hanging around them motherfuckers, you're gonna end up in one of these two places. Get in the car. And I never got in trouble again. The whole time, I remember how cold jail was. It might have been 10 minutes. I was 6 and people thought it was crazy, but it kept me out of trouble for my entire life. And it was those kind of things he did. I didn't wash the dishes. He came to school one time to make sure I didn't eat. And once I did the dishes, he said, you don't work, you don't eat. So, I mean, those are my favorite memories with my dad. He was crazy, but they were amazing memories once I got older.
It's too many. There's literally too many. I remember one time I was a freshman in high school, and we didn't have a whole lot growing up, and I had got me a new shirt. Oh man, I was so proud of this shirt. I looked so good in this shirt. And we went to athletics that morning, and when we got out, somebody stole my damn shirt. I was heartbroken. I'm walking around in my stinky little t-shirt from football practice all day long because somebody stole my shirt. Well, about halfway through the day, Kenny comes and he finds me. And he's like, D, I seen your shirt. So I jump up, I grab my book bag, and I'm following him. We catch up with the little boy in the stairwell. Now, I knew the boy. He didn't come from a whole lot either. He had multiple brothers and sisters there, and it was a big family. And he denied taking my shirt. Nope, it's my shirt. And I'm like, man, give me my shirt. Nope. Kenny looks at me. He says, D, if you want your shirt, take your shirt. You ain't got to worry about none of these other people here. You ain't got to worry about his big brother. I'm going to make sure ain't nobody else going to jump in. That's all I needed to hear. I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but I will tell you this. I left that hallway with my shirt. It needed to be cleaned, but I left with my goddamn shirt. That's the kind of friend that Kenny was.
Snaggletooth Fred is what used to whip my behind with. It's a wooden paddle that has a face on it, and it has one tooth and another tooth here, and he will whoop your behind with that.
Snaggletooth friend is AJ's friend. Amen.
Oh, I like who's the snack? Oh, that's the paddle he had. I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, I knew who he was. Look, I never met him personally. He was a friend.
If we could describe our brother Kenny in one word, that actually is that's hard. Cause I see him different than probably what y'all see him. He a teddy bear to me.
Yeah, and he a funny guy to me.
And I've seen him as a very caring guy.
Yeah, and I seen him, he's just like a businessman. Always got accounts for everything.
Yeah,
And a workaholic.
a workaholic.
Yeah.
Goofy.
So
I mean, real goofy.
Yeah. So.
so you really say a comedian,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
family comedian, but
I mean,
Yeah.
Don't get
Yeah.
paid.
cause comedian work though, no, cause he work hard.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
worked
he
real
worked, but he
hard.
didn't get paid for it,
Real
though.
hard.
But he was real funny though.
But real funny. Real funny.
A crystalite man.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Lord. Love his crystal light.
Love that Crystal Light. Love that Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And them cookies.
And
Always,
no big bag of chips.
always on everybody by getting their stuff in order.
Yeah. That's Kenny. That was Kenny.
That's my brother.
Yeah, that was Kenny.
It's gonna be real hard to give you one word, cause he was too great for just one word.
My word ain't gonna be a word. If we could describe Uncle Kenny in one word, what would it be?
I don't know. To me, you can't describe him in one word because he was multiple things at one time. It was like you can't describe like something like dealing with that because first he was serious, then he was playful, then he was teachable. Then it was certain to me he was certain different things and far as my life that made me realize they different than I did it in the past. I should say. So one word I can't describe him.
My word would be, my go-to is big for now. But yeah, I would say at the very least supportive, very supportive. And I think that kind of encompasses a lot of things that, you mentioned. I would say supportive. Big, loud, and supportive. How did Uncle Kenny shape me into the person that I am today? You know what? To be very honest, for me, I have very fond memories of him, but I would say in the last 3 years, like I've seen him a lot more than what I probably had seen of him when we were younger. But to that point of how that shaped me was that I think it goes to that worth ethic, right? Of like him always, I always have memories of him talking about going to work or working or how important it was, for him to be able to provide. And I think I take that along with maybe many members of the family take that work ethic or just that mentality of, you work hard, play hard, take care of yourself, take care of your family. And so a lot of that, I think, is part of, or I take that into what I do now with me wanting to work really just to like be the best person I can be.
I say for me, he taught me like for his working, he taught me don't let nobody just mess over you. And just speak up when you see wrong going on. But don't confront it in a negative way, but do it in a positive way. Yeah, because y'all know me when I'm hothead. I'm hothead. And so dealing with him, I know I had to. He taught me like to look at stuff in a different way, different aspect, I was to say. And I don't know. And like she said, like that workaholic, that boy can work. He worked. He working all my, like, ever since I was young, he was working. That's all I hear about working. Did job. And he's gonna be missed. I know that.
How was Kenny to our kids? I think based on the age of your kid, it'll change. For me, with Talib and I living in Houston, I would say he would just be supportive. Because we don't come home that often. Of course, she plays basketball. That's her love. And so just being supportive and encouraging. Like she has a game coming up in San Antonio pretty soon. He was readied and geared up to actually just go support her. So, that would be what Taliba's memory would really be of Kenny. He was support. He came to our graduation. So just supportive as an uncle. What about you?
Kenny to my kids was very loving. They loved him, although they were scared of him when he was real little. But as they got older, they learned to love him, and he was very supportive. Came to both of their graduations, loved their kids. So love Gab's kids. Played with him, came over, played with Josiah. So he was very supportive and loving to my kids.
When the kids are like all his nieces and nephews when they was young, all of them was frightening by him because when he come in the door, he come in there, he like holler, and they see this giant, and when they see this giant, then all of them like, even if they was playing or whatever, they would just stop doing what they doing, cling to their mamas or whatever. They would not do nothing else. They do, come here. Stuff like that. And then the lovely part will come out, and then they get a little comfortable after a while. And then they'll kind of like come and shake his hand or something like that. But then they never stayed with him the whole time because they still feared him,
Yeah, and he was, when our kids first seen him, they was scared of him because he was loud, but they had to get used to him. And once you got used to him, then they didn't have a problem with him. And he's the same way with my grandkids. They see him and they even take off running from him, But he's just one of those guys, because of his size and his voice, it just scares the kids until they get used to him.
And when it came down to mines, I don't remember mines being scared of Kenny. I just remember him calling mines monkey, because I guess they was all over the place, so they didn't have a chance to be scared of him. They was too busy climbing.
Monkeys, yeah. That's true.
But they say monkey, monkey, monkey.
That was his word, monkey.
Monkey is
Yeah, monkey.
The most I'll miss about my daddy is his personality. It's just like mine, so it's like hard to two interactions, and now it's just one interaction. Like, it's sad. Watching football with him. I'm gonna miss watching football with my daddy. I used to always call him.
Everything. Kenny and I talked every day except for Saturday, and we talked on Saturday and Sunday. But Kenny called me at 7:40 every morning, Monday through Friday, and we talked till time for him to go in. Then when he get out at 12 o'clock, he would call me again, and we would talk till he go back in at 5 to 1. Then when he got off at 3:30, he would be on the phone until he went home, or if he had to go back out in the afternoon, we talked. I can't complain. I'm thankful. I'm so thankful. God gave me 56 years with Kenneth. And I'm so grateful that he was such a great man. He came up, although he was a prankster and but he was very serious. He loved to save because he had so many things he wanted to do. I'm thankful because God gave me 56 years of a great son. You couldn't ask for a better child. He was a prankster, he told jokes, but anything I needed and he felt that I needed, he would always say, Mama, quit hesitating. When I get out of dialysis, Kenny would come and take me to eat because he was afraid that I wouldn't eat and he know I would be hungry. Sometimes I said, no, I'm hungry. He said, come on, let's go. So a mother couldn't ask for a better son. His wife couldn't ask for a better husband, and his children couldn't ask for a better man. He was a loving, caring person. We teased him when he was little about being Red Man. Then he grew up to be, as you know, Kool-Aid with CPS and Sugar Bear with the other company. But that's what he was. He a big grizzly. He had a hard growl, but he was so lovable. And anybody that knew him would say the same thing. There's nothing that you can really say about him. He had a dirty mouth, but a lot of people do. But he had a good heart. A good heart. You would not find a better person than Kenneth Wayne Curtis Sr.
I think what I'm going to miss most about Kenny as a brother is always being there for you, showing you the love and just smiling all the time. Even though he was going through something, he's always laughing. He kept a positive attitude about everything, and he just could enjoy life to the fullest.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss that part too. Yeah.
It's just everything. Everything.
I'm gonna
It's
miss
just
it.
about him being the brother, the baby boy. He was so different, you know. And mostly, like you said, his
I'm gonna
smile.
miss that beautiful smile and
Yeah.
that loud laughter.
Yeah.
That loud laughter. I'm gonna miss that beautiful smile though. He had a real beautiful smile. Very loving.
Just him being around. It's gonna be a difference.
Yeah. Definitely going to be a difference without him being there.
Yeah.
And it's going to be every time I do something just like him. Every time I need to just call for advice, to call and talk trash, his laugh, his smile, of course. I think everybody would say that. But just him. There's nobody that could fill his shoes, could fill his void. Just gonna miss him.
Everything. Everything I remember. Miss about him.
The world will remember Kenny from his laughter and his smile, because that's one of the things he did the best. Was he laughed, he enjoyed life, and he loved telling jokes.
The world will remember Kenny as a kind, gentle, funny guy, because he was very funny. Yeah. I'm gonna remember Kenny as on Friday saying, "It's popcorn Friday." He's going to get my popcorn and bring them to me. Yeah. But this past Friday, the last Friday, he say, "Oh, I got some bad news for you. They ain't have no popcorn." Yeah. We're going to remember him as a funny guy. He was a funny guy.
They gonna remember the world gonna remember Kenny as somebody who always have some type of snack in his pocket, whether it's cookies, whether it's because at one time it was cookies, at one time it was his Kool-Aid packages, at another time it was bread, I believe it was one time it was bread, because he ate a lot of bread, you know, and they gonna remember him because he was also a jokester. So he liked to tell a lot of joke, and he was funny at everything that he do. And they definitely gonna remember him by his box cutter, because he kept a box cutter in each pocket. So no matter which pocket he dug in, he had a box cutter.
Um, the word with me and Uncle Kenny as far as like at work they call him a sugar bear. I didn't understand that before I started working at Freeman for the company, and they were like, "What they call you sugar bear?" They call you saying it because you fat. I was just like, "Nah, why you letting them call you sugar bear?" But I then deep down, cause he's a big guy. People would be scared or something like that, but inside he just caring. He showed everybody love. He was honest to everybody, and I feel that's one the one biggest thing would always go remember about Kenny. And like you, I'm pretty sure you heard his smile. His smile like he bright in the darkest room. And when you see Kenny, I don't care like y'all were best friends. Like y'all, you know Kenny gonna speak to you. If you say nothing, if you don't say nothing, like Kenny gonna speak to you.
The world will remember my daddy by his smile and the joy of light he can bring everybody. He knows how to make somebody happy.
I think the world will remember my brother as being definitely very hardworking. The one thing about him that I remembered early on is always having a job, whether it was just little odds and ends jobs as he was growing up so that he could, have a little money, to actually working for the career he worked forever, which was CPS. He was very much so in love with his family. I don't think there's anybody on this earth that doesn't know how much he loved his wife, how much he loved his boy, his girl, that's what he called them, which is his two children. He's just a family-oriented person. I mean, he was a co-signer for me, coming out of college, needing a car. He came to co-sign for me. Never knew he was as bossy as he was. I thought I had the car that I wanted, but he was going to tell me the car that I needed because, and it was just his caring for me. He didn't want me to get a car that was not a good car for his little sister who was in Houston. So just people will remember him that really know him as protective. That's why he's going to cut somebody, because he's going to always protect his family. So hardworking, loving, always with a smile, and, sometimes reserved as well, very reserved.
The world will remember the most about Kenneth is hard worker, never half-ass. He was a team player. He worked, he didn't just think of what himself. And that he was a kind, loving husband and a kind, loving father. That's what Kenneth will be remembered the most about.
His smile, he might as well be Mr. Kool-Aid Man. Kenny had the Chester Cheetah smile, man, from here to here. Oh man, he was such a joy to be around. His work ethic. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever met anybody who works as hard as that man worked. It just didn't faze him. It needs to be done. He's going to get it done.
I think the world will remember Kenny as this big and loud, but somehow very caring person. I think they're going to remember his smile. They're going to remember his laughter. They're going to remember him working hard. But most of all, I think they're going to remember the love for his family.
I think the world would really remember Kenny as a really, really good person with a lot of fun, who had a lot of fun. He laughed all the time. He enjoyed. He was one of the people that enjoy life. And if you knew Kenny at all, you couldn't help but to laugh at the things that he said and that he done constantly, because he always kept you laughing. No way, you never was a stranger to him. If there was any time that he could stop or help you do anything, he was that type of person, a very friendly person. And I think everyone who worked with him and knew him would always remember as that person who was your friend.
How the world will best remember Kenny if he cared.
The world will remember my pops as a very loving family man. There's not one person who he didn't love. Friends, family, he was there for you. He's probably the one person you could count on the most. His smile, his goofiness, his laugh. He would say some of the most wild stuff, but in his head, he meant it. So the world's gonna remember him as a great husband, father, brother, sibling, friend, you name it, they're just gonna remember him.